Hello Stampers and Crafters, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Sarah McGuire from Sassy Paper Crafts. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and today's card is this one. And while this card may look super simple, the front of it is embossed. And yes, that is peach pie. I will show you how to do that. But this is also a fun fold, so when you open it, it opens like that. It is super easy to make. This card would be great for birthdays, any occasion really. So if you would like to see how to make it, please keep watching. So to start this card, first we are going to start with a full-size sheet of peach pie. Now in America that is 8.5 by 11. So all these are going to be in inches, all my measurements. So this is an 8.5 by 11 sheet of peach pie. This is the 11-inch side. This is the 8.5-inch side. We're not going to do any cutting, so I'm going to move my scoring blade. We are, but not right now. I'm going to move my scoring blade up to the top. We're going to score this 11-inch side, the longer side, just at 5.5. And that is going to be, move my sample card off the way. And that is going to be our main fold. So remember, we're using this gray scoring gray, the light gray, not the dark gray. So that's 5.5. And then we're going to turn our cardstock and we're going to score it at 2 1/8 on each side. So I'll show you how I do that. So I just find 2, and the first longer line there is the 1/8. I'm going to score the whole length of it, and then I'm going to flip it around. So there's my first score line there. I'm going to find 2 1/8 again, and just score up that. And that is it for scoring. Now we can cut our panels. So what we want to get rid of are the two top, whatever is your top. I'm going to say this is the top, this is the bottom. We want to get rid of those. So what I found it really easy to do was to use my paper trimmer and line up my score line with the track. You can also line it up at 2 1/8 because you know that's where you scored it. And I'm just going to come down, and there's a little marker on here. I'm going to try to line that up with my 5.5-inch score line. And you can even see it here in the track. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. I'm just going to go as close as I can without crossing that line. And now I'm going to do the same thing over here. Make sure I start at the top. And just kind of bring that down as much as I can. And then I'm just going to turn it. You could also use a pair of scissors for this. I just think using the paper trimmer gives you a bit of a cleaner cut. So then this is just hanging on by that little bit. Pull that off and then turn it again. And the same thing. I'm just going to follow that down as close as I can without going into the card base part. I might need scissors for that. I don't know if that one's, yep, I might need scissors for this. Just grab my paper snips. I'm just going to cut up just like that. So now it should look like this. Let me get my paper trimmer out of the way. You should have 2 pieces of peach pie left over. And so that is the card base. So I'm just going to take my bone folder and I'm going to fold this down and burnish that really good because you want it to lay as flat as possible. And the same thing for the little panels. Burnish those. Just like that. Make sure I get these out of the way. Now for my panels, I chose the Wildflower birthday designer series paper. Here's all my pieces here. I just thought it was super pretty. So we're going with a different inside. I did the kind of that light blue background for this one. We're going to use the peach pie for this one. Get that out of the way. And these are just cut to 2 inches across by 5 3/8 just to fit on your panels there. Grab my Stampin' Seal. And now what I found was easier to do is to flip it and make sure, especially if you have directional designer series paper, that it's where you want it to go. So this to me looks like the front, so I want to make sure I put it on upside down kind of, because the bottom of our card here is at the top. Hopefully that's not too confusing. Push that down. And then so that is our flap. And you want to make sure you close it too. What I did on the other one was I closed it and burnished it as well, just so that way it closed nicely. And then our inside piece, I have a little strip here that measures like 5/8 of an inch. You could do a 1/2 inch. It's just I cut all my paper to 6 by 6. So this is just what's left after cutting a bit off for our big piece, or no, our panels there. So you can make this a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch. You could even make it a whole inch if you wanted to, but this is going to be the inside of the card. And if you wanted to stamp, a sentiment on the inside, happy birthday, what have you, you definitely could. I kind of like to leave the inside of my cards blank, because especially if I don't have a recipient in mind yet, that way sometimes I like to write stuff on them. And then this is the tag part of the Wildflower birthday designer series paper, but I just loved the daisies, I think they're daisies, on the front of the paper, or on the other side of the paper. I'm just going to layer that onto a piece of basic white that is 5 1/4 by 4. This is also 5 1/4 by 4, and then the designer series paper is 5 by 3 3/4. I'm going to put that down there, and now we're going to do a little bit of heat embossing. So I have this square here. This is the second largest square from the Stylish Shapes, and I have the Embossing Editions toolkit, which includes the embossing buddy, this little paintbrush here, the tray, and then I keep them up here, but these tweezers. I love this kit, but I'm just going to run over my square with my emboss buddy, set that aside, and then we're using the paper tags stamp set. You could use any of these stamps you'd like. You could even die cut some of the tags. I'm going to use the It's a Wonderful Day to Celebrate You. I just really like that sentiment, so we're going to go ahead and do that. I already did the emboss buddy to get the color, and this is how you literally can emboss in any single color. I'm going to take my Versamark, and this is just a watermark ink pad, so it's clear ink. Now, if you wanted to do silver or gold or something, you would just use this and then use silver or gold emboss powder. What I'm going to do is ink that up in Versamark, and then we're going to ink it up in Peach Pie. Now, this will not hurt your stamp pads. I've done this 1,000 times. I've yet to ruin an ink pad. Try to center that the best I can. You could also stamp and then die cut that square. I die cut the square first just to save a little bit of time. But now you can see that is in Peach Pie. And I have some clear emboss powder. This emboss powder is old. I've had this emboss powder for probably, 10 years or more. But the stuff lasts forever. So if you get the basics embossing powders, I believe the clear is in there. You get black, white, and clear, I think. I'm just going to sprinkle some of that over. Like I said, use such a little bit. Do it one more time just to make sure everything's covered. That this stuff literally lasts forever. So I've had this jar for so long. I thought, well, why buy more when it works just fine? I don't know that it expires. I'm sure it has a shelf life, but after 10 years, this jar is maybe half gone. So I'll buy more when I run out. And then you're going to need a heat tool, but because I've already die cut this, I am going to use the tweezers. Now, what I love about these tweezers is you push to open them. I love that. So this way, I'm not going to hurt my hand. So I'm going to use the heat tool. This might be a little loud. I'm not sure. Hopefully my microphone doesn't pick up too much on it. I'm going to get a little bit closer though so you can watch it change. So right now, if you look, it's kind of powdery, kind of dull. Let's heat it up and watch it change. Hopefully you could see that. So normally when I heat emboss, I just go like this. I did it underneath just so that you could see, if you've never seen heat embossing before, how cool that is. So now it went from a powdery, dusty, peach pie to shiny, pretty. Hopefully you can see, that was probably way too close, but shiny, pretty, vibrant peach pie. And it's completely dry. It's not going to smudge or run off. So that is heat embossing. And like I said, you can do that, in literally any color. So if you wanted to make it petunia pop or smoky slate or whatever color, Versamark, then ink, then paper. Works every time. So let's add some dimensionals to the back of this just to pop it up. Now I left the card intentionally kind of plain on the front because of that surprise fun fold. Now, if you're sending this in the mail, you might need an additional stamp or maybe like a non-machinable stamp or something. I would ask your post office, but because it's like, you open it up and wow, it's like a fun fold, I wanted to leave it intentionally a little plain. I'm using some of the party dots for this because they have peach pie, and I'm just going to grab a few and just kind of put them where I feel like they should go. The party dots also has pool party and pretty in pink, and it coordinates really with the Wildflower birthday designer series paper. So that is our card. Open up our sample, and I hope you enjoyed this fun fold. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more videos from me. I want to thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to check all my links out in the description of the video. I will see you next time. Thanks again for watching.